I guess it's just gonna start recording. Okay, cool. um, I don't even know where to start. I've been meaning to excuse the background noise. The dryer's drying cycles on right now. I just wanted to do a quick update and check in. I haven't really been utilizing my YouTube channel or any social media in terms of posting. Forgive me for saying this word, content. To take a step back, but I actually wanted to share where I am in this journey. As some of you know, I self-published a children's book back in 2020, and this whole journey has been, I don't even know the words. It's been a very spiritual and eye-opening experience, like from the jump. So with that, I created a children's book called The Fear Theory. And throughout the video, I'm going to post some artwork and pictures and images and all that kind of stuff to give you some insight. But more recently, so basically I self-published The Fear Theory, the first book, in 2020. I did everything. I did the illustrations. I did the writing. I did I got somebody to do the editing. I put the book together because I'm a graphic designer by trade. So I put the book together. The only thing I didn't do was print it. And that for me has been huge, because throughout this whole journey, it wasn't up until probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago tops, that I consider myself an artist. The title for me felt like it had a lot of weight, and I didn't think that I didn't want to, I don't know. For me, the title artist for me always had like a responsibility attached to it. I understand you're an artist, you're creating music, or you're creating art, your self-expression, all that stuff. For me, like, it always had a sense of responsibility attached to it. And I found that throughout this whole journey of doing the books and everything else that I'm doing, it wasn't until 2 years ago that I said I'm an artist. And I said it and I meant it. Like, I stand on that. Right? Despite playing music, despite acting, all these other things that require artistic attributes, I didn't even bestow the title of artist on myself until more recently. And I say all this to say that, like, when it came, and excuse me if I'm rambling, there's a lot that's on my mind that I wanted to get up onto this channel over the last while. But I never went out thinking that at any point in my life that I wanted to write a children's book. I didn't see myself as being an author. I was horrible at writing. Not horrible, but I wasn't good at writing. I could barely get my ideas down. I just struggled a lot in school, in middle school, and didn't really see myself with writing as something that was going to be something that I'd be doing. Like, just even thinking about it now, it's just, when I look back at everything, it's mind-boggling how crazy one decision can change your life in a constructive way, constructive decisions. Because when I've been applying for grants and trying to figure out next steps for where I want to go, because I don't know if the graphic design thing is not something I don't think I want to pursue anymore. I'll talk about that in another video. But when I was 20 and I was struggling with depression all through high school and middle school, when I was in like my early 20s and decided, look, man, I don't know if I want to go to school for this yet. I'm going to take some time to just work. And in that time, decided, me just like, I always used to love drawing and art. And for some reason, like, I don't know what happened. Just like I stopped doing it. The high schools that didn't really have adequate art program and they didn't really value it. I was one of two people that knew what graphic design was. That was planning to go planning to go to school to become a graphic designer. And thinking back about that now is just like it's mind-boggling to me. But that decision of picking up a pencil and going to the store and buying a sketchbook, like if I didn't do that, I don't know where I'd be right now, because that decision led to me creating So Indifferent. I remember sitting at my parents' place, sitting in the dining room, trying to sketch, right? And obviously beating myself up about it, because I know I something I used to do, and now trying to draw and turning out crappy images, like, it's gonna have an effect on you, right? Because like, this is what I used to do. I know, like, and through that process of like putting that aside and just trying to just continuously show up, I came up with So Indifferent. Because throughout the sketchbook, there's been little moments where I'm like, yo, what am I going through? What is this like dark cloud over my head? What is this? And I remember looking up definitions for it. Depression had such a heavy title that I didn't connect with that. But when I came across indifference, I was like, damn, that's it. I'm just so indifferent. I'm just like, it's almost like I don't care, but I care. It's such a weird, it's almost like a purgatory. But that was like the seed that like allowed me to start get into graphic design stuff again, like do Photoshop. And one of the first things I did after purchasing my sketchbook was, and I have to say this, like the first time I used Photoshop was back in high school. I actually failed because I wasn't paying attention in class, so I took it upon myself to teach myself Photoshop that summer, and I did a bunch of tutorials that I found online, and I got good at it. But then I kind of fell off. So when this sketchbook was reintroduced in my life and it came with So Indifferent, I'm like, yo, let me see if I can just come up with this character. And I came up with a character, no emotions, no face, just eyes. And I said, I'm not hearing you, which is something I heard on the way home from school or somewhere. I was on the bus or something, and I guess somebody was trying to talk to this person. They had their headphones on. She said, I'm not hearing you. And I just loved that. It was so rude and so blunt. I was just kind of like, damn, I really like that. But that's basically what So Indifferent was to me. So Indifferent was like, I don't care about expectations. I don't care what you expect from me. Right? I don't care what you think about whatever I'm doing creatively. I'm doing this to express myself, and that's it. I'm doing this to learn about myself. I'm doing this because, for one, I want to see people wear t-shirts that I designed. Two, I'm doing this because I just want to see what this looks like on a canvas or on a print. That's the reason as to why I'm doing this. Or I'm doing this because I want to see a remix of this. Maybe I can mash up styles. That's why I'm doing this. And when I think about that decision, I remember I sat at my computer for like 8 to 9 hours. I sat in front of my computer just doing that design. And I did it in Photoshop. That design was meant to be done in Illustrator, but I didn't know how to use it. So I'm doing a vector-based design style in Photoshop, right? If you're a graphic designer, you know what I mean. The headaches when it came to printing, you can only imagine, because you can't stretch elements in Photoshop like you can in Illustrator. Illustrator is a vector-based program, but that's besides the point. But like it was a series of events that transpired after discovering that part of myself. And I was on the drive home from something I'm going to speak on shortly, which is part of the reason as to why I'm doing this, that allowed me to kind of realize that, wow, like I was depressed in the sense that like I found the outside world difficult. There was a lot of expectations, judgments. People didn't see me. People didn't understand me. Right? So I'm trying to keep up with this stuff, but at the same time, trying to keep up with it means I wasn't being myself. I was like acting. I was playing a role. I was trying to like mask. I was like code switching. I was trying to fit in. And just thinking about that now makes me cringe, because I'm like, dude, there's nothing to fit into. And the fact that like I was chipping away a bit of my self-worth and my self-esteem to fit in, like it really bothers me. So what I did back then was with So Indifferent, with just wanting to design and just putting myself into that, I realized that I had a very rich inner world. I had a very rich inner world. And obviously that gave me the confidence to like put shirts out. I'm like, I didn't even care about the money. I was serving at the time. I spent like, I don't know how much money I spent on these shirts to get them printed. And it was a whole trial and error too, right? Because you go to the place downtown that charges you $17.99, $20 per shirt to print. You're not making any money trying to sell that back, right? So I had to pivot. And being a graphic designer, you always have to pivot. I had to like figure out how to, like, okay, there has to be another way I can do this. And I came across another Canadian site based in Montreal. They're called Wardens. And they were able to print my shirts. I remember spending a crap ton of money to print like a couple sweaters or crew necks and some shirts. It wasn't even about selling it. It wasn't even the entrepreneurial pursuit. Like there's no business. There was no business. It was about me expressing myself and wanting to see someone on Queen Street, because I thought Queen Street at the time was so cool. I just wanted to see someone wearing my shirt. That's all that mattered to me. That's it. And obviously you meet people that think, hey man, you're crazy. Like what? You're not trying to make it? No, it's not about that. I just discovered this rich inner world within myself. I'm exploring it. And look what I came out with. Like, this is crazy. You can have that. I'm creating this from in here after going through mental hell, like going through this dark thing and like, dude, this is just near the entrance, dude. Like, I just want to get this out so I can be on the next thing. What else can I learn about myself? And I remember later on, I think probably a year or two later, like once again in my early 20s, I was like, man, like, I'm noticing I'm starting to fall into this depressive thing. And I realize it usually happens around the winter time, right? So I'm like, yo, like, I need, what can I do? Like, I can go out and buy an Xbox. I can spend it on games. I can spend it on crap. But like, these are just temporary pleasures, right? So I'm like, what can I do? And I remember I started listening to a band called Dance Gavin Dance that my coworker at the time introduced me to, and I fell in love with them. I remember I was like, listening to them, like, maybe I should play an instrument, but what would I play? I tried playing guitar before. I just couldn't wrap my hand around the chords. I went out and bought a bass guitar. Taught myself how to play. In my bedroom. Like, Photoshop and it's so different. That time spent in my sketchbook, coming up with the name, spending all that time designing my first shirt design, that kind of created a style for me. Like 8 hours in front of my computer. I spent those 8 hours here, 5 hours here, 6 hours here, playing my bass guitar like every single day until like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like it was insane. But once again, I was obsessed because I found another part of myself in my inner world where I'm like, holy shoot, like, dude, like I could play that song. Not only do I listen to the song every day, but I can play it. Right? And I started posting YouTube covers. That led to me joining a band. That led to me making some more shirt designs. And I'm discovering this rich inner world. And I think I'm skipping a whole bunch of stuff in between. Like I did clothing and all this other stuff, right? And then I was like, I get to a point, like, how else can I challenge myself? Like, I want to learn more about myself. What else is in there? What else am I capable of? Right? I remember one day I graduated from college. I don't want to talk about college right now. I'll talk about that another time in another video. But I remember I had such a hard time getting a job, an internship and a job. Like it was horrible, man. Like every day I'd be on my computer just trying to like find work and try to at least like get my foot in somewhere. Like this is what I went to school for, like internship, like whatever I can get my hands on. Rejection after rejection after rejection. It is what it is, right? But I remember I was on Craigslist looking for jobs too at the time. Don't crap on it, because one of my best clients and a dear friend of mine I met on Craigslist, and we're friends till this day. And I'll get into that later on. But the point I'm trying to make was, I came across an ad for a modeling agency, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can just try to do this. People have said, hey, give it a shot. Like, I want to challenge myself. I need to face the rejection in person. If I don't get it, I don't get it. If I don't get it, then if I'm wasting my time, I'll go get something to eat downtown and make a day of it. And I went and I got it. Right? And I was learning about myself and like, wow, like, okay, cool. Like, I don't really like the idea of just like being used for just my physicality and the way I look. I wasn't acting that much in it anyways. But I did some stuff. But then later on, I think a couple, like a year later, I did an acting self-discovery course. And man, with each and every like creative endeavor, I found out more and more and more that I have this rich, beautiful inner world within me. And I realized that growing up, the sensitivity, and when I say sensitivity, it's like a sensitivity in the sense that I'm not gonna cry watching like Lion King, like not that kind of sensitivity. A sensitivity in the sense of like an artistic sensitivity. Like I feel deeply. I don't know how else I can say it. I feel deeply. But that right there is part of the reason as to why I wanted to be so indifferent. That right there was the reason as to why I was dealing with depression. If I'm being honest with you, I felt so much. I cared so much that I wanted to be numb. There, I said it. I've never shared this with anybody before. I'm sharing it online on my YouTube. I'm sharing it here. There's been a lot of crap going on, and I've been sitting with these thoughts for so long that I just need to get them out for my own mental health. Especially with the state of the world right now. I'm not even gonna get into that, but I just stopped. I just didn't want to care anymore. Right? But and there's nothing wrong in saying that, right? There's nothing wrong in feeling like that, because what that actually did, as everything else that I did creatively, gave me an opportunity. It gave me an opportunity to say, okay, hey, look, we know you don't care, right? You just discovered this rich inner world within you. We know you don't care, okay? You're printed shirts for the sake of wanting to see other people experience it, okay? You care, right? But what's happening, I think, is a lot of the stuff that is being pushed on you is stuff that you don't care about. So what are some of the things you do care about? And what this acting class really taught me was, wow, man, like, not when I look back at that cave, and I can almost like in my mind like map out the various like pathways and areas of that cave and little like, what's the word I'm looking for? Little nooks and crannies, and like if I was a map, I'd draw it out. It's just like, and I'll get to that, put a pin in that, the map analogy for a second, right? I draw it out. And I look back at that, I'm like, man, like I don't want anybody to go through depression and take a left, because it's such a slippery slope. It's so easy to fall. It's so easy to fall, man. And I've had people tell me some of the things they wanted to do to themselves because of what they're dealing with. And that's the thing, like, but they're so indifferent. I care about that. I knew from very early on, and you'll see the logo, there's 4 boxes. It's always been about mental health from the very beginning. I'm dealing with depression. That's whatever that is, until I figure that out, that's going to be the foundation, trying to understand that and help other people deal with it. Music or any form of creative expression, right? Because I think of drawing as music to me. The second I start to think about the song, I screw up. Same with my bass guitar. The second I start to think about the music, I screw up. You don't think about the music, you play it. It's a journey. And I realize a lot of the design stuff that I do, I start be at my computer, and I'm consciously not even there. Physically I'm there, I'm working on it, but I'm somewhere else. I'm at home in my inner world, exploring, creating, right? It's crazy to think about it. I don't know how else to describe it. But that was me. That was me. That's how I navigated my world. Right? That's how I was able to build my self-esteem. I was able to pull my self-confidence out from within. I didn't have to put on fancy shoes or dress up in a particular way. My confidence came from something internal. I don't need an external battery to charge my phone. I don't need that. I can charge it here. You know what I mean? And now fast forward to 2020, working on the children's book, which the original idea came all the way back from before I started college, like after I started college, or after I graduated. Like some of these ideas go all the way back to like 2012, 2013. Like it's crazy to me. But those random sketches or those brain dumps or those ideas that I had in those moments were preparing me for what I'm doing today. I just didn't understand it. So there's so much stuff that's coming out from this inner world where I'm taking this stuff out, and it doesn't, not that it doesn't mean anything to me. I made designs out of it. But it wasn't just the design. There was elements from it. Maybe the little character that was on it. That was a seed for the fear theory. Hey, that guy in the corner of the design that's just kind of with the backpack trying to capture this monster. Basically, the design is a monster, and there's a little character who's now Creo. Actually, when I think about it, that was Creo. That's trying to capture this monster that's in front of him. So there's scraps of paper on the floor, trying to illustrate the fact that there's been many attempts at trying to illustrate this still life drawing of this monster. And the idea behind the image is the fact that the character is standing there with multiple attempts trying to get the monster means he's not scared. There's no fear. Why would there be multiple attempts of trying to get this thing if I was afraid of it? It wouldn't even be there. The last thing I'm going to do if I'm scared is going to pull up my pencil trying to understand it. Trying to understand the lighting, the way lighting's hitting it. Trying to understand, okay, if this thing keeps moving, I got to make sure I just get like a still image that I can refer back to. I got to remember the light source is coming. Like, you're not going to do that if you're staring at something that scares you. So what I realized in that moment is I was taking my power back. I'm not going to let this thing stop me from wanting to do what I need to do. Like, what am I working with here? Okay, cool. Lighting's kind of here. It's drooling. Yeah, you're screaming. You're blowing my hair back. Your breath smells. Whatever this monster's trying to do, cool. Okay, let me just see if I can. And that was the seed of the fear theory. I didn't even know it. And then with the second book, I gotta take like an hour to even go over some of the stuff that I experienced doing that. But that in itself has been like a spiritual thing. I don't even have enough time to go through that. But then I started doing markets to sell my work. I create like a little package. I call it Cadet Package. Illustrate the box inside and out and have the books and all the tools that I use to make the books in it as well. And I'm meeting parents. I'm meeting people. Even people that don't have kids. And I'm like shaking people's hands and like something you don't really see people do too often. At least not at the markets I was doing. Everyone else is just kind of like on their phone waiting for someone to come up with them. Like I see someone walk by and like even look at the corner of their eye at my stuff. I mean, hey, how you doing? Chad, nice to meet you. Do you mind if I tell you a bit about what I do? Right? I'm no longer acting. I'm not trying to sell. I just want to share what I'm trying to do. And in me sharing what I was trying to do, people will be like, oh, wow, like, that's so cool. How can I support? I remember there was one gentleman that kind of was just strolling through, and he came by, and I saw him kind of look, and hey, you mind if I share a bit about what I do? Hey, how you doing today? Good. I'm Chad. Nice to meet you, man. Do you mind if I quickly go through this? So I did this, so indifferent, the fear theory, The first book is very rough. I don't want it to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist. It was very difficult for me to step outside my comfort zone working on this as a perfectionist because I was letting myself keep mistakes in it, knowing where they all are. Most people are going to look at it, they're not going to see it. And then the second book, I knew if I invested time, I get better at it, like playing an instrument. And I'm sharing the stuff with him, and you kind of see like the light bulb go off, and the eyes kind of widen and lighten up. This guy's like, okay, cool. And he started reaching for, I have these enamel pins. He started reaching for enamel pins guy grabbed like 5 or 6 enamel pins. It's like, how much is it? It's gonna be this much. Taps his credit card and says, thanks, man, I really appreciate you sharing that, and walks off. Was he my demographic? No. Right? But just by making a little bit of effort by just trying to acknowledge someone else, right? Being like, hey, like, you mind if I share about my stuff? Like, how are you doing today? And bring them into my world. Hey, like, I've discovered this beautiful inner world within myself. Do you mind if I share a bit about what I found on discoveries? And now today, like even today, I've done workshops. Like recently or last year, I did a workshop at a Catholic school 2 hours outside of Toronto, like about 2.5 hours outside of Toronto. And remember the client that I mentioned about the Craigslist, finding out on Craigslist, she referred me, worked out payment, and said, all you gotta do is show up. And that was life-changing. Life-changing. I had grade 2s, grade 5s or grade 6s, one of them, and grade 8s. And these children changed my life. And what I had them do, I had them create their own planet. So basically, I shared my story with them. And I think the most beautiful thing about the entire experience with these kids was the fact that I walked them through my journey. I basically said, hey guys, this is my inner world. I have the sketches, the sketchbooks, shared my story about some of the jobs I worked, dealing with anxiety, depression. And obviously I would, based on the grade level, I would like the younger kids, I didn't really talk to them about depression, but the grade 5s or grade 6s and grade 8s, I brought that up, and they were able to ask questions and share their experience and what their understanding of that was. But I remember driving home and I was crying. It was a 2-day workshop. I was crying on my way home back to the city. I'm like going through rush hour, just bawling, because the image popped in my mind where I saw myself outside myself, and I saw myself facilitating this workshop for these kids and sharing my story with them, the presentation and everything. But it wasn't just a presentation. It was almost as if I took my heart out of my chest. This beautiful, like whatever, like it's this flawed thing that you hold so close to your heart. You don't want anybody to see it because you're terrified they're going to make fun of it or judge it. And I was like, I took it out in its imperfect form and presented it to them. Now, again, emotional just thinking about it. And presented it to them. And instead of, in my mind, you would think that people my age would probably be like, yeah, that's crap, that's this or that, or make fun, right? At least that's what my mind would tell me. But the image that I had when I was driving was the fact these kids, like, they looked at it, picked up and kind of rotated it, and it was like, wow, this is so cool, wow. And just like hearing that and seeing them interact with the artwork and be inspired and ask questions and really get into the art project man, it was life-changing. And I think the most beautiful part about, especially with the older kids, was their teacher. And I think it reminded me of the teachers that I had, because she trusted me enough and trusted them enough to kind of roam free, like kind of pasture, knowing that they're not going to throw erasers across the room or anything like that, but knowing that within this environment, they're free to express themselves. I'd say, like, I'd share a story or I'd share this, and they're like, hey, are you rich? I'm like, just shout it out. I'm like, no, I'm not rich. I drive a Honda Civic. Like, I'm like, you should see my car. I'm not rich. And they'll create banter. Obviously, some of the guys are like trying to get a laugh out of their friends, right? But then I noticed a switch later on while they're doing the art activity. I remember one of the kids was like, hey, Mister, I'm not gonna say my last name, but it's on the book. Whatever. Hey, Chad. Like, hey, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, sure. What's going on? Hey, man, did your friends support you when you're doing this at any point? I was like, yeah, like my friends supported me. Yeah, I had friends that supported me throughout this. Like I had my bandmates from one of the bands that I played in. Like I wasn't good at it. They didn't need me to be there because I definitely wasn't on their skill level, but they allowed me to stay and it helped me grow. So there are people in my life that supported. I don't expect everybody to, but there were people that supported me throughout this stuff, throughout this project, and throughout other aspects of my life. Okay, cool. Can I ask you another question? I'm like, sure. Did your parents support you when you were doing this? I'm like, yeah. They didn't understand it to begin with. In the beginning, right? They don't understand when you're playing in your bedroom for 8 hours a day thinking that that's going to amount to anything other than music. But they understand it now. And the fact that I'm here, like, it clicks for them that, oh, okay, I understand the direction my son's going. Okay, cool. Okay. And just to see their minds start to, like, the gears in their mind start to, like, spin, and them starting to, like, ask questions, be introspective, and to kind of, like, ponder on some of the stuff that I was talking. Like, it really blew me away, man. Really blew me away. And then fast forward to today, I've been doing a 6-week illustration workshop for one of my childhood friends, his son. And man, I was just talking to them about it today. I'm like, I didn't see myself becoming an author and writing children's books or any of that stuff. Like, I didn't see myself doing any of that. And I'm sitting here now, like, just wrapping up an hour and a half art lesson with your son and seeing myself in him and seeing the improvements and putting myself in his shoes at his age and his understanding of the world. It's just mind-blowing to me. So I say all that to say this, like, I don't feel successful in the sense of worldly success. I don't feel like I have my career figured out. To be honest with you, I have no idea where I'm going. But I have a level of fulfillment that works for me. And I think there's no greater offering as an artist than to be able to give back to the people that have supported you in any aspect or in any capacity of your life. I think there's nothing that can compare to that offering of being able, especially like a childhood friend, to be able to give something to their offspring to help them discover their own inner world. It's just, the whole thing has just been, like, very, like, mind-boggling. I know this has been a long one. There's been a lot on my mind. I might have jumped to different points or whatnot, but I just really need to get this off my chest. Hopefully in the future, I'll break down some of these other stories into more bite-sized bits. And to end it, I want to show you what I was actually able to get some of the children to work on and how that has transformed into something beautiful. So thank you for stopping by. Please like, I'm not going to say comment, subscribe, but if this story resonated with you and you're an artist, reach out to me, please. I'd love to connect, and maybe we can hop on Zoom or something and have a conversation. But I'm curious to see what other fellow artists are experiencing and how they're navigating self-discovery and discovering that rich inner world inside of all of us.